real one. But we have accruals of water in additional information, which is the opening accruals and closing accruals. The same tactics I gave you is also the same thing you are going to do. The closing owing, you opening owing, you less it, where you add closing owing, which is 23. So at the end of the day, you have 48. Now, we also have rate. Rate is also an expenditure. The same thing apply. 32 is the one, the receipt and payment. Then you have a prepaid. That is the closing. Opening prepaid is you had it, and closing prepaid you left it. Exactly the way I gave you in the techniques I gave you the other time. So let's go to rent. Rent, we have rent prepaid. We only have a closing rent, which is you only less that one. 96 minus 16, that is 63. Then we have electricity. We have a lot of adjustment here, so you have to be very careful so as you ensure that you adjust it before you begin to post the figure. So if 506 here, then you know we have electricity accruals. You less that of closing, and you add that of closing accruals. So you have a 411. Then we have repairs. Repair is also an expenses, so it has no adjustment. Repair has no adjustment at all. Then we have insurance. Insurance has no additional information. Then we have maintenance of grant. That one also doesn't have adjustment. Wages of grandman, 140. Then don't forget we have interest, loan interest. Loan interest is an expenses. We have loan interest of 97. Now let's now go to the question loan. We have loan here, which is opening loan. So loan is an accrual. Here they are talking about accrual here. So don't make mistake. It's an accrual. So it has opening accrual. It doesn't have closing accrual. But opening accrual has to be less. So you less loan interest. So let's look at it. Loan interest. That is 33. No, it has accruals. Loan interest, you have 33. Less is from 33. You are not given closing, so you have 64. Now, then we have a miscellaneous. Miscellaneous is also an expenses. So 163. That one also has opening accrual but does not have closing accrual. So you let it 75. Then don't forget we have depreciation of pavilion. Depreciation of a pavilion, and the depreciation has been adjusted here, which is 498. 498. Don't forget we have a telephone. Telephone is 103. Then we have a social. We have the expenses on social. We have expenses on social, and that is 67. So now let's add everything. Let's add it. If you add this, we have 2, 4, 7, 7. Now you see that this place is greater than this side, and if expenditure is greater than the income, we have a deficit. And if this one, if income is greater than the expenditure, we have surplus. So here we have a surplus of expenditure over income, so we call it deficit. So The difference between this and this is 779. That is a surplus of expenditure over income, or you call it deficit. So then you balance it at the end of the day. Now, don't forget that any information in additional information will also appear in the balance sheet at the end of the day. You see how I prepare it in the balance sheet, where we will not leave any accruals or any information in additional information untouched. So let's go. Don't forget the techniques I gave you the other time. So balance sheet. As at 31st December 1995. Now, let's move to fixed asset first. We don't have only fixed asset. The only fixed asset we have is a pavilion. And don't forget the first value is his value is 13,698, and the less leg depreciation which we are given before. You know that depreciation appeared in the income and expenditure. So we also fit it in the balance sheet. So that is 498. We have 13,200. Now, let's go to current asset. If you look at the information current assets, do you have a bank? So what we now do here is that information that relates to 31st/12/1995, that is the closing balance sheet. So now, bank, we have bank. Bank is also represented as cash, or you can use it as a cash. Now let's go to receipt and payment in the question. You see receipt and payment in the question. You see closing balance, which is balance CD. We have 1,700. That is what we use as your current asset. Then we have a stock, closing stock, but which is called bar stock. Is a closing stock. So that is a 394. Then we have debtors. Debtors, that of closing, we appear here. Then let's now look at all the prepaid we have. We have a rate prepaid. You can see it in the question. Rate prepaid 6 naira. All the information, all the information you don't need is the information that is under 31st/12/19, because it is a closing balance sheet. So now we have a rent prepaid. Sorry, this is 6 naira. We have a rent prepaid. Rent prepaid is 16 naira. And we have a receipt owing. Why is it that receipt owing is 4? So receipt owing is 425. Why is it that our is 425? The reason being that it is a owing on his side. So if you see owing by user of club party, just look at it. You see that it is a current asset to the company at the end of the day. So you have this. If you add everything together, you have what we call 15,791. That is that. So you want to know whether the figure for the accumulated side will correspond with that of asset side. Now here we go. Accumulated fund. you know, accumulated fund had been done in the statement of affairs that we did the other time, and that is the 13,977. If you look at it, you see it. Then we now less surplus of expenditure over income. And the reason why are we lessening it? Because it's a deficit. If it is surplus of income over expenditure, you had it with accumulated, because it will definitely increase the accumulated fund. But because it is a deficit, it will affect the accumulated fund, that it will reduce your accumulated fund. That is the reason why we are lessening. But if it is a surplus of income over expenditure, then we had it. So we have 18,200. Now let's go to our current liability. Current liability, you have a back creditors. Just look at it in the additional information under a closing debtor. You have a that's the thing. We have do you know that we have accruals? We have accruals of water, which is 23. The reason why this it is not posted here, why does these items is not posted in here, is that this is the receipt side. This is the receipt. The amount that you're supposed to receive from the member, of which it is on accrual. So it is your asset. Since they are still going to give it to you, you are still going to collect that payment at the end of the day. So that's why it is under current asset. But if it is on the part of the company that the company will pay it out, which is owing, it will be under current liability. That's why this is not posted under the current liability. Then we have electricity. All information that pertains to accruals, you bring them in, that is in the additional information. Sundry expenses, we have 65. Then loan, 108 minus, don't forget loan, we have a loan of 108. Then that of then you less it from 170. That will give you 91. So, and then that of receipt in advance. So which that pertain to closing. You see that the receipt in advance pertain to that of closing. It is 657. Now you see that after you had all this, just add it, this plus this plus this, you have 15,791 at the end of the day. So that is what is called just then. The reason why, let me lay emphasis on this loan. You know that the loans we have in the question before is in the adjusted. Just look at the adjusted. You see that the loans we have is 145. You see that the loans we have is 1080. Then you let it from, the reason why you are letting it is that you look at your repayment of loan. The payment of loan, you all have loan of 108 and you pay 170 out of it. So the remaining, your loans will remain 910 at the end of the day. Reason being that your 170 has been repaid out of 1080 loans that you owe to outsider. So you left it so as to know the total loans that you are owing at the end of the day. So that is why it is less from this, which you have 910 at the end of the day. So having balanced it, that means you have done justice to non-profit income accommodation. If you are given in the exam, just be very careful and be vigilant. Look at the questions and look at the answers, and you discover that it is very simple question. So that's that about non-profit making organization. Topic 4. We're talking about single entry, which is incomplete records. Now, what is single entry? Single entry is a system of accounting which ignores two-fold aspect of each transaction. And when we're talking about two-fold aspect, we are talking about double entry principle. I mean, anything that has debit side must have a credit side. Any item that has a credit side must have a debit side. So, it is a system of account which ignores totally the two aspects. It records one, it debits one, and it does not credit the other account. And in the course of that, you discover that if you use single entry in preparing your account, you definitely have what we call incomplete account, and even the figures as well. So it takes into account the personal aspect of each transaction. Now, the alternate terms incomplete records is often applied to book of account kept on the single entry system. So when you prepare account on the single entry, then you definitely have incomplete records. And the reason why we are preparing, the only person that can prepare single entry account is a novice, an amateur that does not know, that does not have knowledge or experience in accounting. And you know the way people do in their day-to-day trading, they only prepare one aspect of account and does not prepare two full aspects. And you see that at the end of the day, they did not have a clear picture of the state of their account at the end of the day. So the only person that prepare this kind of single entry is those people that do not have knowledge of accounting. And that's why with the help of accounting, it will ensure that based on the information given by the trader, sole trader that is preparing that account, then the accountant will now prepare the account based on information that he got from the sole trader and prepare the twofold aspect of the transaction in order to ensure that the account, it has a clear picture of what is expected for an accountant to do. So that is that on the single entry. Now, what are the limitations of single entry? What are the limits? The limitation is that fraud may be easily committed. Yes, because you know with the help of accountant, the service of an accountant is something that not be overlooked or undermined. The reason being that when a professional accountant handles account, then there will not be perpetration of fraud in the company. But when somebody that does not know much about accounting deal with accounting, you will see that the fraud will come in at the end of the day. That's why most of them are trained to be able to handle account. And before I go, let me go back to that of single entry. The only way is that another thing is that when you prepare cash account, you know, I like I've always explained that when you prepare only cash account, you must prepare the account ledger separately in order to prepare to comply with the double entry principle. So they will only prepare that of cash book. They will not prepare separate account for that items in the cash book, and because of that, they are only preparing single entry account, and they will definitely have incomplete record and incomplete account at the end of the day. So going back to the limitation, fraud may easily committed because double entry, it is not applied in the single entry. Then the second one is double entry is ignored because there is no way you prepare single entry that you will not violate the rule of double entry principles. Is either you ignore double entry principle and prepare single entry, of which will not give your account you will not have a clear picture of account. You will not be able to ascertain the profit that you realize at the end of the day, and at the end of the day, the information will not be correct at the end of the day. So in the single entry they did not have take cognizance to double entry principles, of which it will not give clear picture of the account. Then the third one is the record information are not complete. That is the work of accountant. A novice, an amateur that does not know accounting, we only record information that are not complete. They won't know how to arrive at total sales, how to arrive at the total purchases. There are some expenses that they will incur that they will not put it in the record, of which they will not, at the end of the day, you won't be able to get the profit at the end of the day. Then the next one is, it is not possible to ascertain the arithmetic accuracy of the book, and that is why this double entry principle is very important. It helps you to get the arithmetic accuracy of the account. But if only single entry is employed, you will see that the account will not be accurate at the end of the day. Then the last one that is that it does not show the true profit and loss of the organization. I've said it the other time. If you are only preparing single entry, you will not get the true profit or loss of your business, because you are not complying with the double entry. That's why the reason why double entry is given to people that are called accountants to be followed, to be strictly followed, is to know the true picture of the account, to know the real profit and loss account, and to ensure that the account is complete at the end of the day.